write the lyrics to change the game. Nothing's ever gonna be the same. It's the verse effect. 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 I write the lyrics to change the game. Nothing's ever gonna be the same.
Welcome to The Verse Effect, the podcast that analyzes and discusses lyrics from groundbreaking hip-hop and rap songs. My name is Camille.
And my name is Roderick. This episode, we take a look at My Philosophy by Boogie Down Productions, featuring KRS-One.
He truly provided a multifaceted persona for hip-hop as a teacher, commentator, advocate, and visionary, to name a few.
I agree. And when he says, you gotta have style and learn to be original, it feels like a mission statement for hip-hop itself, right? I mean, those lines, it's like he's talking straight to every artist in the game, telling them they have a responsibility to bring something fresh.
Exactly. But he's not letting them off easy either. Originality isn't just about being different for the sake of it. It's about substance, having something meaningful to say. And isn't that what KRS-One dedicated his whole career to? Positioning hip-hop as a platform for real transformative expression.
Yeah. And he didn't just talk the talk. Like when he came up, hip-hop was shifting. There were all these trends, everyone chasing the next big sound. But KRS, man, he stayed in his lane. He made his art about education, about community. And because of that, he stood out. But standing out, also puts you in the crosshairs.
Right, and that's the burden he's laying out here. To be original, to really craft your own style means people are going to come for you. It's like he's warning artists, if you're going to do this the right way, you better be prepared for criticism. It's almost philosophical, don't you think? The price of authenticity is often resistance.
Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting. We see this play out even now. Artists who refuse to follow trends get labeled as too underground or too woke, but over time, those are often the voices that leave the biggest mark. KRS knew that. He knew he wasn't making music to just win over the mainstream.
And there's real courage in that. I think of it as pushing against assimilation, not just musically, but culturally. By insisting on originality, he's saying that hip-hop needs to resist being diluted or co-opted. There's a broader cultural critique in that, don't you think?
Totally. Hip-hop was and still is about identity, about representing your world with authenticity, and KRS was not backing down, even if it meant people tried to tear him apart. It's like he knew that criticism was part of the game, but for him, that criticism was worth it if it meant being true to himself.
It's fascinating. After making such a strong case for authenticity, KRS-One pivots to another tough truth when he says, rap is like a setup, a lot of games. He's not just exposing the industry's pressures, he's urging artists to see beyond the surface and question the traps that come with chasing trends.
Exactly. It's almost like he's peeling back the curtain on the whole machine, showing how superficial things can get. And that suckers with colorful names part, it's sharp, isn't it? A little jab at those more focused on their image than their message.
Sharp, but fair. I mean, think about it. Hip-hop was supposed to be this revolutionary art form, right? And here he is, calling out folks who've turned it into, well, a hustle without substance. It's like he's warning us what happens when the art form gets disconnected from its roots.
Right. And he's coming at it from a place of care. Like, he's not dissing commercialization just to critique it. He's doing it because he values what hip-hop stands for. Knowledge, wisdom, he sees it as education in its purest form. And when you strip that away, you lose the heart of it.
Absolutely. And there's a kind of moral weight to what he's saying here, almost like a challenge. He's asking, are you in this for real? Are you using your art to elevate and educate? Or are you playing the same games that keep us stuck? That's powerful.
It really is. And what makes it hit harder is that he's not just pointing fingers, he's setting the example. Just look at his career. He could have gone all in on chasing hits or building a gimmicky persona, but he kept it real, kept it authentic. And you feel that in his music, every track is trying to teach you something.
Yes, and that's why he's such a towering figure in hip-hop history. He reminds us that being an artist isn't just about skill, it's about responsibility. Because in his mind, if you're not educating, or at least sparking thought, then what are you really offering?
Exactly, and honestly, that critique is still so relevant today. We see new artists blow up overnight thanks to trends, but how many of them are leaving us with something lasting? Something we can think about 5, 10 years down the line?
Not many, but when you hear lines like these from KRS, you get the sense he's daring artists, daring all of us really, to demand more, to dig deeper. It's not just a critique, it's a call to action for hip-hop and beyond.
And that's why when he says, I just produce, create, innovate on a higher level, it feels so intentional. Like after everything we just talked about, authenticity, responsibility, this line isn't just a statement, it's a declaration of purpose. KRS-One is showing us exactly what it means to rise above the noise.
Exactly. And the phrase on a higher level is doing a lot of heavy lifting, don't you think? It's not just about intellectual or artistic superiority, it's almost metaphysical. He's setting himself apart, challenging the standards of what we expect from the genre.
Yeah. It's like he's saying, I'm not here to play in the shallow end. He's pushing the culture forward not by chasing hits, but by redefining what's possible. It's bold.
It really is. And what stands out to me is the I'll be back part. It's like he's emphasizing that his contribution isn't finite. He's not a moment. He's a movement. It's almost a promise of longevity, right?
Totally. It's a reminder that great art isn't always appreciated in its own time. Like he's saying, you might not get me now, but just wait. My influence is going to outlast all this noise.
Yes, and that's so powerful. He isn't just creating for the present, he's creating for the future, which flows perfectly with the idea of innovation. And honestly, how often do we see artists today taking that long view?
Not often enough. It's like we're in such a rush for the next trend, the next viral moment, that we don't stop to think about what actually lasts. KRS knew that the stuff that sticks, that really resonates, is the stuff built on principles, not hype.
Right, and that's why the settle part is kind of interesting to me. It could be read as like a flex. I'm so ahead of the game, y'all just got to catch up. But it's also reflective. He's saying, I've put in the work. Now watch where it goes.
Exactly, and it's like he's reminding us that innovation isn't just about jumping to the next big thing. It's about patience, about letting your ideas grow and take root over time. And then he takes it further with, teachers teach and do the world good. Kings just rule, and most are never understood. It's almost like he's expanding on the idea of responsibility and lasting impact from earlier, showing us two kinds of leadership and leveling a sharp critique on the kind that operates without deeper purpose.
Absolutely, and what's striking is that KRS is putting the spotlight on teachers here, not rulers. He's making a statement that wisdom and knowledge, those are the real tools of power. It's not about control, it's about contribution.
Right? And you can feel how personal this is for him. Like he's saying, I'm not trying to be a king, I'm trying to be a teacher. It's about using his platform to uplift,
Exactly. And there's a humility in that. To call yourself a teacher, like he does, it reflects this belief that real progress comes from empowerment, not domination.
Yeah, for sure. And then that second part of the line, most are never understood. That feels so layered. It's like he's acknowledging that even wisdom doesn't always get recognized.
Right. It's almost tragic, isn't it? Because he's saying that leaders who actually have something valuable to offer are often overlooked or misunderstood. It's like society doesn't always know how to recognize the teachers while they're here.
And that's the thing. He's reminding us of the responsibility that comes with that. Like, as a teacher, you might not get the applause or the throne, but your impact runs deeper, longer.
And that's so central to his whole career, isn't it? KRS-One is showing us that the measure of a leader isn't in how many people bow to them, but in how many people they empower to stand on their own.
And it's this next lyric that feels like the natural follow-up. I speak and I'm heard. It's like he's owning that responsibility we were just talking about, knowing that his words have the power to empower and make an impact.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is the second part. It was a little confusing at first. Now you see the results of my verbal coercion. There's so much happening there. Like, he's acknowledging the challenge of being understood, especially when you're ahead of your time.
Right. And that phrase, verbal coercion, man, it's bold. He's not just saying he's a good rapper. He's saying his words can literally reshape thinking, change minds. That's power.
It really is. And it's almost philosophical. The idea that language itself can be a form of, influence, even control. KRS is reminding us that words aren't just tools for expression. They're instruments of persuasion.
Exactly. And it's in everything he does, his delivery, his tone, even the way he builds his rhymes. It's all intentional. And let's be real. When KRS speaks, people listen. He's not just rapping, he's commanding attention.
Yes, and there's something almost defiant about it, isn't there? Like he's saying, you might not have gotten me at first, but now you see what I'm doing. Now you understand.
Totally. And the confidence in that line, it reminds me of those early artists who had to fight to get hip-hop itself recognized as legitimate. KRS is reflecting that struggle, not just to be heard, but to truly be understood.
Absolutely. It's like he's positioning himself as someone who doesn't just critique the status quo. He forces you to rethink it. And honestly, isn't that what makes him stand out? He's not afraid to challenge the audience.
Exactly. He's pushing people to think bigger, to question what they believe. It's not just music, it's education, activism, philosophy, all wrapped into one.
And that's the thing. This lyric isn't just about his own story. It's about the potential of hip-hop itself. He's showing us how the genre can be a tool for, as he puts it, verbal coercion, but in the best way possible, to wake people up.
And it ties back to everything we've been talking about. Authenticity, originality, using your voice to actually say something. KRS-One mastered that, and it's why his influence goes way beyond the music. Building on that idea of KRS-One using his voice to command attention, My Philosophy stands out as a moment where he really elevated the game, not just for himself, but for hip-hop as a whole. It wasn't just a track. It was a challenge, a blueprint for how the genre could push beyond personal expression and into real thought leadership.
It's like KRS-One was telling every aspiring MC, this isn't just entertainment, this is a platform. I mean, My Philosophy wasn't subtle about its mission. He wanted hip-hop to be seen as a legitimate vehicle for social change, for education, and that in itself was revolutionary.
Right. And this was the late 80s, a time when the landscape was shifting and materialism was creeping into the scene. KRS stood his ground, made it clear that he wasn't about that. He elevated the MC role to something more, something like a teacher, which, man, how many artists were thinking that way back then?
It's a rare stance even now. And what really stands out to me is how he blended street knowledge with big picture philosophy. He's not just repping a neighborhood, he's tying individual experiences to universal truths. That's what made his message timeless,
And that's why conscious rappers like Public Enemy and Nas, and even newer voices like J. Cole, they owe something to KRS-One. He showed that rap could be both a classroom and a pulpit. You're not just entertaining, you're empowering people to think differently.
Right, and empowerment is really the key word there. Because when you listen to My Philosophy, there's this implicit demand for accountability. For the artists, for the fans, for the culture as a whole. He's saying, we all have a role to play in what hip-hop becomes.
Yeah, and it's that accountability that makes him stand out. He's not here for the easy path. He's here reminding you that every lyric you write, every beat you choose, it all reflects who you are and the world you want to see.
And what's so striking is how he embodied that himself. I mean, he didn't just talk about change, he lived it. Whether he was addressing education, violence, or social inequality, he made it clear that hip-hop was his way of steering the conversation in meaningful directions.
Totally. And by doing that, he inspired a whole wave of artists to rise above the noise, to realize that the mic is one of the most powerful tools they've got. It's not just about playing the game, it's about changing it entirely. This episode, we are introducing an occasional segment called Cultural Coordinates, where Camille places the song in its broader historical context by naming key events, movements, or cultural shifts happening when the track was released.
Thanks, Roderick. Thinking about KRS-One's influence, it's impossible not to reflect on how pivotal 1988 was. Not just for hip-hop, but for society overall. That was the year when the rise of conscious rap really began carving out a space for dialogue, with tracks like My Philosophy setting the tone. Add to that Jesse Jackson's campaign and Yo MTV Raps breaking into the mainstream, and it's clear everything was aligning for a profound cultural shift. You can hear all of that in My Philosophy. KRS-One wasn't just rapping, he was tapping into the energy of that moment. Conscious hip-hop was taking center stage, and it felt like artists were stepping up saying, we're not just entertainers, we're voices for change. What's so striking is how My Philosophy doesn't just fit into that movement, it defines it. The crack epidemic, the racial tension of the late 80s. Here's KRS-One using hip-hop as a platform to educate and to challenge. He wasn't just commenting on the times, he was reshaping how we responded to them. There was Jesse Jackson running for president, energizing Black communities in a way that we hadn't seen before. It's a perfect backdrop for a song like this, where KRS is pushing people to think critically, even politically, about their place in the world. The connection between art and activism becomes so powerful. KRS-One wasn't just watching history unfold, he was urging his listeners to engage with it. We had Yo MTV Raps giving hip-hop this massive platform. Suddenly, these messages aren't just local, they're global. That exposure was a game changer. My philosophy, along with tracks from Public Enemy and others, made it clear that hip-hop wasn't just a subculture, it was a cultural powerhouse. But what's wild is how those messages still resonate today. Like, we're still having these conversations about authenticity, responsibility, and what hip-hop stands for. That's what makes my philosophy such a classic. It's not just a product of its time, it's a challenge to every era that comes after. KRS-One was asking questions we're still trying to answer. What does it mean to use your voice? How do you continue something like hip-hop without losing its soul? He showed us the blueprint. Consciousness, originality, education. These weren't just ideals for him. They were necessities. That's the legacy of my philosophy, and honestly, that's the legacy of KRS-One. It's a legacy that still pushes us to think differently, to demand more. I mean, whether it's in music or in life, the questions he raised are still relevant. That's what great art does. It doesn't just live in the moment, it echoes forward. Thank you to everyone who took this journey with us. And here's to more moments of reflection, more stories, and more philosophy in hip-hop. Until next time, stay authentic.
Stay original. We'll catch you next time, folks.
It's the verse effect, it's the verse effect. I write the lyrics that change the game. Nothing's ever gonna be the same. Nothing's ever gonna be the same. I write the lyrics that change the game. Nothing's ever gonna be the same. Nothing's ever gonna be the same.